Why the heck are you doing webtoons when you want an anime? I think I am limiting myself by just doing webtoons. The clearest path to getting an anime, the clearest path is... trying to get an anime before I turn 30 years old. I'm 26 now, which means that I need to make a banger manga or webtoon series to get my anime deal. It doesn't need to be released by 30. Someone has to be interested and give me an offer by the time I turn 30. I think by this point, it's impossible for me to have an anime released by the time I'm 30. But I would like a deal signed before I turn 30. In order to do that, I need to make a banger series, and it needs to have millions and millions of readers and views. Otherwise, it's probably going to be a very difficult sell. I've created a few series that are strong contenders, one of them being God Game, which is a popular webtoon manhwa shonen serialization that I've done. It's the first series I've done. And then another one is Just the Goblin, which is a webtoon original series that has millions of views and a very well-established fan base as well. But in my opinion, they're not quite there. They still need some more content. They still need some more readers. They need more oomph before I think producers will be considering taking it to the big screen. Now, the question I'm sure that many of you guys are asking is, Brandon, why the heck are you doing webtoons when you want an anime? Why not do manga? Because obviously the traditional path to getting an anime is novel to manga to anime adaptation. You can even skip the novel part and go to manga to anime. The clearest path from the United States, where I'm based, to getting an anime, the clearest path is by doing webtoons. There's no established manga publishers that will do originals in the US that are established as some of the big players in webtoon or Shueisha in Japan. The manga industry in Japan is far more sophisticated than the manga industry in the US, obviously. Even in places like Europe, France, Germany, even Italy, they have more of a manga original environment with more talent and more money going into the original space than the United States does. It's really interesting because the United States has a huge amount of consumers and it's starting to grow its creator base, but a lot of the publishers have not exactly hopped on to the fact that they need to start producing originals. They are all just focused on the money grab, which is like, hey, we're going to just license projects from Japan, which is fine because there's a lot of content coming out of Japan, but there's obviously a lot of creators in the US that are starting to get into the space as well. So they're really not capitalizing on the creator base here. Doing webtoons is just the natural course. If you want to be able to fund a full-time serialization, the only way to really do it from the US is either going to Japan, publishing manga, which I can't move to Japan, so sorry, or working through webtoons, because there are webtoon to anime adaptations. A lot of them are starting to happen. Tower of God, God of High School, Soul Leveling is now getting its anime adaptation. There's a lot of webtoon to anime adaptations that have been going on recently. But I think I am limiting myself by just doing webtoons. I got into webtoons because I'm a mangaka. When I write webtoons, I basically write it the same way I would write manga. I just like format things almost entirely the same. My storytelling methodology for telling webtoons is almost identical to how I do manga. Now, with my experience doing obviously manga competitions and webtoons, I've decided that I want to not just limit myself to webtoons and obviously start doing more manga so that I can really focus on getting the anime that is my goal by the time I turn 30. Now, the manga is obviously going to be traditional, just like Japan. You probably won't even be able to tell the difference. It'll be right to left, black and white. Honestly, for some of the manga we used to do, we used Japanese sound effects, but I realized that a lot of US people are just like, what is that? So we'll probably use normal English sound effects. In terms of storytelling and art style, you probably won't be able to tell that it's from the United States. It'll look exactly like it does in Japan. Content, though, in terms of story and in terms of concept, will probably be more American, based in New York or whatever it is. I will say I've never done a full-on manga serialization. I've never serialized manga officially. What I have done is I've self-funded manga chapters up to like 5 or 6 chapters for manga. I've serialized webtoon serializations, hundreds of episodes and chapters by myself and with my teams. But obviously I haven't gone to Japan to serialize because that's the only place where manga serializations are available. So because there's no manga publishers in the US, we have to fund this entire production by ourselves. Now, how am I going to get thousands and thousands of dollars to fund, oh my God, a manga serialization? Well, my studio has decided to start a Patreon. Now, this Patreon is going to be both for readers and aspiring mangaka. It's going to be for readers because we'll have original manga and webtoons on there so that readers can enjoy new content, read ahead of normal readers. We're also going to have content for aspiring mangaka, so more educational stuff. I'm talking behind the scenes for scripts, storyboards, colors, art, all that kind of stuff. We're going to have priority to ask questions on the Q&A YouTube podcast, exclusive advice advice for how to make a career out of manga and webtoons. There's even a tier where you can get your portfolio or scripts and projects reviewed by my team. So this Patreon is meant to be a way so that we can basically raise money to produce more original content entirely without needing a publisher, because obviously there's no real established manga publishers in the US. So in order to do manga, we have to raise the money ourselves. I will say that every single dollar is not going into my pocket. It's not going to anyone else's pocket. It's solely used to reinvest into manga and webtoon projects. So every dollar that goes into the Patreon is reinvested into making manga projects. So no, I'm not spending it on like sushi or something. Don't worry. It's also a great way for us to connect with you guys and create content that is both educational and entertaining for the manga and webtoon enthusiasts and followers that I have. It's also a way for you guys, if you've always been interested in supporting the manga studio that I'm doing, it's a way for you guys to support the projects that we're doing and learn a little bit from it as well. And as we produce the manga and webtoon projects on the Patreon, we'll be getting closer and closer to our dream of getting the anime adaptation. If you want to check out the Patreon, the link, I'm going to put it right in the description. There's even a free tier, so if you don't want to spend money, you can just follow us for free and get an announcement, and that's totally fine. Just wanted to make a quick video to announce this little Patreon that we're doing and why we're doing it and why manga is now becoming a priority for the projects that I'm doing for the future. Obviously, manga is the reason I got into storytelling to begin with. Every single thing from novels, writing comics, webtoons, all of it was inspired by anime and manga. And so my goal is obviously to create a banger manga that can turn into an anime long term. And this Patreon is hopefully the first step to being able to do that. Once again, guys, thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on next week's video, which will be a Q&A. So peace. Thanks for watching.